Hi, everybody. Today's July 29th of 2019. I want to talk about gratitude today. Now, for most of us, when it comes to dealing with situations in our lives, we tend to expect our lives to happen a certain way. When it comes to most of our lives, and things start to happen to us that are not necessarily favorable, we tend to try to steer off course. We try to find all of these ways to make what we want to work. But that's not falling into the flow of existence. It's like trying to think if the moon wanted to just change its direction one day and say, well, I'm not going to continue the cycles that I've been continuing over and over again. I'm going to change. I'm going to do something completely different. That that doesn't work. It's not the way that reality goes. There's a flow to everything that's happening that is continuous within and outside of us. We really have to get to the point where we can take in these moments that are constantly rushing at us. There are times where, say, you go to a fast food restaurant and you have your order get messed up. Well, I've seen people who get really frustrated with that kind of stuff. Instead of just going with the flow and fixing the mistake by maybe reintegrating themselves into the experience. Because I know from personal experience that every time I've ever made a mistake or my gut and intuition has told me to do something that is completely off track to my brain, I end up in the right places at the right time. And that's really what it comes down to when we have these tiny experiences that are seemingly holding us back. Having gratitude for them, though, is something that not very many people have learned, or I guess I shouldn't say learned, but have adapted the behavioral pattern to handle. We have to teach ourselves certain responses to certain situations because after all of the time that we've grown up, we have created responses to these situations that adhere to those past reactions. And so, for a lot of people who are going through their awakening process, they say, oh, I'm full of all this love and I'm full of this light that I've been learning about. But then they're thrown into their everyday life situations, and it's like none of what they learned mattered. Well, it's not that it didn't matter, it's that you have thoughts and behaviors that you have to retrain. And that's part of awakening. That's part of going through this experience to get to a new level of thinking. You can't go somewhere else if you haven't really understood where you are or where you were. There's always things that you've missed. And if we are sent to go back to those moments, to learn about those moments, we have to accept it. And we have to bring gratitude into our hearts towards the most vile and horrible situations. Because without those situations happening, we would be avoiding our darkness. And nothing gets accomplished when we avoid the darkness that is still very real within and outside of us. There's so many things that could be said about this too, that being able to appreciate the people that are alive right now that are doing harm to other people. Now, I'm not saying it's good. It's not. It's horrible what some of these people are doing to other people with their power. But we have to have gratitude towards the fact that they exist and that they are us and they are learning on their own path. To be able to see people like that and not judge them, because judgment really comes from within us. Any judgment that we pass on to another person is judgment we have put upon ourselves and haven't come to full understanding of. To take in other people's negative emotions is an extremely unhealthy way of healing people for some. Because when you're taking in someone else's negative emotions, you are actually absorbing them like a sponge. And then if you personally don't know how to work through those emotions, they stay within you and they stay trapped and they actually feed into the other negative emotions that you have that you haven't worked through. And that's why really that kind of work is only meant to be done by certain shamans, certain spiritual healers who have done the extraordinary amount of work to be able to heal what's inside of themselves and then take someone else's emotions and transmute them into the light that they already know how to create with their consciousness. So, to gain a sense of gratitude towards life, towards people, towards everything that is happening to you, we have to surrender. We have to surrender to what life is teaching us, and we really have to admit when we're wrong. We might think inside of us that there are some things that we just cannot live without. For me, it's respect. I feel like I need the respect of other people to be around them and to live my life to the fullest. But that's not me. That's my ego wanting other people to pet me and make me feel good and give me a space where I can work the best in. And that's not okay. That's something that I am literally putting upon people. It is my own personal judgment. And we have to take our sense of self, witness it, love it for what it is. When we learn to love ourselves, then is when we can take all of those feelings and all of those thoughts and we can push them to the next level. We can go forward instead of staying in the same spot that we've been in for so long. So, the level of patience it takes to find gratitude in every one of life's situations is another skill that really is admirable in people who have it. There are so many things that hit us every single day. So many little nuisances, so many little inconveniences and problems that just tear us apart and make us think that, oh my goodness, everything is just crazy right now. But that feeling of this is crazy right now is exactly what has to be healed. We can't see the craziness. We have to see the reality of the present. Gratitude is an acceptance of what is. Gratitude comes in so many forms, whether it be the surrender, love, peace. There's so many ways to say I am grateful for things. And really putting that energy out into the world tells that negative energy that even though it's hitting me right in the face and I hate it, well, I shouldn't say it like that, but even though it's hitting me in the face and I don't like it, I'm grateful for the experience to be hit in the face. And I know that in itself is like, what? But that really is what we have to do to find gratitude in our lives. Because gratitude is one of the stepping stones to forgiving everything that has ever happened to us. And without forgiveness in our hearts, we cannot love people. We can choose who we want to love without forgiveness, but we cannot 100% love people without forgiving the people that we supposedly hate. And I know hate is a strong word, but to a lot of people, they'll resonate with exactly what I mean by that. There's so many of us that tend to break away from what's happening to us in our lives because we don't have someone out there to say, you've got this. Some of us have connected to our spirit guides and can feel that connection where we know that we've got this. But for the people who don't, there's not someone standing there telling them that. And for some, they really don't even feel that way about themselves. If we can embody these higher levels of emotions, other people will be able to see us and say, how do I do that? What makes it possible for that person? And seeing that someone else can do it successfully and live happily may be the motivation to them to spend a night looking up these things online, or finding some kind of teacher that calls to them where they can learn more about this. Maybe listening to a podcast or a radio show that really helps. I mean, I started with YouTube. I found tons of motivational speakers that helped me, different channelers, different teachers, everything that I could imagine, because I wanted what I was after and what I knew other people had successfully obtained. So, for gratitude to become a part of who we are, we really need to focus on flowing with life. We can't fight the flow. I've started thinking about it like patterns in a kaleidoscope, kind of. I see all of these patterns in this picture that are moving and shifting, and eventually all of the lines line up, and it creates this beautiful picture. But as soon as the picture is created, it starts moving again, and nothing makes sense anymore, until the next point when everything lines up, and you can see the beauty in what has changed. And that's really the moments of life that are constantly happening to us. We have to flow with those different changes and reach that point of synchronicity. And whether we are aware of it or not, it's always happening. Whether we're fighting it or not, it's always happening. If we can learn to fall in sync with the flow of life, is when we can actually be grateful for the moments that are coming into us. And we really have to take those horrible things that happen to us for what they are. Amazing moments that are our lives. Those things, they carry a weight inside of us that most people don't tend to reflect on. There are so many people who go home at the end of their workday and they might gossip or vent about what happened that day, but as soon as they've let it out once, they don't really go back to it because they don't want to go back to that state of mind and work through those things that have happened. And that creates a problem when the next coming days, it's like the whole process is started over again. You're back from square zero and the whole day happens, and then you go vent about it and then it's gone, and you go back to the next day and you're not progressing forward in those moments. That's what gratitude gives us. The gift of gratitude gives us the ability to reflect and love our lives so much that we're able to learn more from them, and we're able to experience them with a more fullness of our own emotions. Taking into account everything that happens is the only way to truly make progress. There are steps that we have to take one at a time to ever get to the point where we can fully advance ourselves. And that really does take a lot of work and a lot of love. For you, for everyone, and for everything. You have to see those people who, yes, may create those problems for you, not as being the problem, but being something that is teaching you about your own problems. And when you can flow in that moment and not let your negative emotions take over, but maybe, in some cases, allow yourself to go through that moment with those negative emotions, until you experience those negative emotions in their rawness, you're not going to be able to know what steps to take to work through them. So then for other people who are above that step and have taken the advances in being able to let go of their negative emotions in the moment, they can literally put love into a moment that normally has hatred, which might not seem like it affects everybody that much, but you change reality when you do that. When you take away that hate and you replace it with love, you've changed reality. That's about all I had to say today. I haven't made a video in a couple of days and I've really been feeling it, and today felt like I know where I want to do it, I know how I want to do it, and I'm going to start getting the ball rolling. So this has been more of a fun video to make just because I'm not pushing myself to make these videos anymore. I really kind of feel it when it's time to happen, and I honestly just talk about the things that go through my head every single day. Like, lately, that's really what I've been thinking about, because I just went through a super embarrassing moment a couple of days ago, and it took me an entire day to get over it. I had to sit down with my mom and talk about everything that had happened and really reflect on it and realize how deep my emotions ran into an event like that. And it actually unsurfaced so many other things that I needed to learn about. But what I was getting to was that this is becoming important to me. Making these videos and putting these messages out there for other people to listen to and to understand. So, please, if you like these videos, keep up with them. Because I know if you like these videos, then I'm going to be here for you in every way possible. Because for so long, I've been there for myself, alone, on a lot of my journey. And I guess I can't say alone. Lots of people have helped me, and lots of people have taught me things. But I'm saying the vast majority of what I have gone through and I have learned, I had to do alone. Because a lot of it was insanity. And the only person who can understand your brain is you. So, I really hope that you guys are liking this content and that you actually want to keep up with watching it, because these messages are something that is flowing with this ever current present moment. And I feel like the things I'm going through aren't just me. We're all going through a lot of the same stuff as a collective consciousness right now. To everyone who's watched this, namaste. And bye.